Hello students, today we are going to learn about history chapter number 6, social, economic and cultural impact of the British rule. Now what do you mean by this? How British rule affect our society? Economic means what? Economic means any matters that are related to money, business or industry, right? So how the British rule affect our business, industry or money related matters and the culture. The British rule had a major impact on the economic, social and cultural life of India. British goods were allowed entry in India without paying any custom duty. Custom duty is a one kind of tax. So what is written down over here? That is, any British good entered in India without any taxes, means they doesn't need to pay any tax for their goods. But when India wants to send some goods in another countries, they have to pay high taxes. This policy of British was called one-way free trade policy. Why it is one-way free trade policy? Because on one side, means on the British sides, there is a free trade, and on the another side, means in the Indian side, they have to pay high taxes. That's why this policy is known as one-way free trade policy. Now we are going to learn about ruin of artisans and craftsmen. Means in India, by the British rule, how artisans, means artists and craftsmen, ruined, how their industries, how the handicrafts ruined or collapsed due to or by the British rule. So this particular point you can understand very nicely by this flowchart. So pay attention over here. There are main three reasons for the ruin of artisans and craftsmen. First is increased competition. How competition increased in India, in the industries or in the business? So first is one-way trade. Right now only we learn about it. One-way trade means what? So on the British side, there is no custom duties, no taxes, and on the Indian side, means on the India side, means if Indians want to send some goods in another country, they have to pay high taxes, right? So this is one kind of competition. And another is goods made with primitive techniques. Means in India, goods were made by old technologies. Means most of the goods are made by hands, means handwork is there, or else there are very old technologies used for the production of goods. So that old machine goods, their old technique goods were not able to stand in the competition in the market against the what? Machine made goods. Britishers, what they do? They take the raw materials from India on the cheap rate, right? And then by that particular process, they make that raw materials into the final goods, and again they sell it in the India only on a high rate. Right? What's the difference in it? That particular product is made in the machines. So there are lots of difference in machines and handmade product, right? So because of these two reasons, competition increased in the Indian market. Now second most important reason is restrictions on import. That we already learned. Restriction on import means what? So India has to pay high taxes, and these taxes and duties were levied in 18th and 19th century. And the third is ruin of cities, means handicraft. I already told you about it that there are so many artists and craftsmen who work through their hands, means their handworks are very much famous or popular in particular cities or in India. Then this handicraft is very much famous in Dhaka, Surat, Murshidabad. Now, later, because of the British rule, this particular became depopulated and waste. Why? Because people wants to purchase the machine made product, right? Because that machine made products are very much cheap and that are very much good enough. Now we are going to learn about stagnation and deterioration of agriculture. Now what is stagnation and deterioration? Stagnation means what, students? So the state not flowing or moving. Means stagnation means what? A one kind of stop. Means if any manufacturing or if any particular process is going on, suddenly it stops. So that is the stagnation, right? And deterioration means what? So production is going on, but it is on the worst part. Means the production हो रहा है, पर कैसा हो रहा है? तो खराब, worst. Okay, so how the stagnation and deterioration of agriculture is happening in India due to British rule, that's we are going to learn about, and that is also you can learn through this flowchart very easily. Now stagnation and deterioration of agriculture, three main causes are there. First is land revenue system. What do you mean by land revenue system? So first of all, I want to explain you that in earlier times, so many people is dependent on agriculture. We know that, right? Now, most of the farmers, what they do, they work on other people's land, means zamindars, right? So zamindars, what they do, the zamindars did not bring about any improvement. They levied high revenues on the farmers. And second is forced commercialization. Commercialization means what? Commerce means what, students? Commerce means what? Selling and purchasing, right? So what is forced commercialization? Most of the farmers growing crops और they were doing production for their self consumption. मतलब कि वो अपने खुद के लिए और अपने फैमिली के लिए प्रोडक्शन करते थे. But because of the British rule, what happened? They forced to sell their production in the market. Means less production for their self consumption, and most of the production they supposed to sell in the market. And the third one is partition of country. Because of this only, zamindar system and all these high taxes and all this forced commercialization, what happened? So all money lenders, they what they do, money lenders give them, और स्मॉल वर्कर्स को वो क्या करते थे, तो वो ज्यादा उनके ऊपर रेवेन्यू और टैक्सेस लेविट कर देते थे. Because of that only, what happened? The partition happened, means rich people and poor people, right? So these three main reasons for the stagnation and deterioration of agriculture happens. Our next topic is lack of development of modern industries. The machine age in India began with the introduction of cotton textiles, jute and coal mining industries in the 19th century. Now, British make machine-made goods and sell it in India. But in India, when the industries developed, when the machine-made production done, that is in the 19th century by the cotton textiles and jute and coal mining. Most of the modern Indian industries were owned by the British capitalists. Capitalist means what, students? Capital means what? The main investment. Now, if any industry established in India, then there also what happened? So main capital were invested by the Britishers only. Means Britishers जो थे, या फिर we can say that British जो थे, they only invest their money in the industry to establish or to make some production. They were interested in investment in India because labor was cheap. Cheap means what? Not so much costly. raw materials were easily available and there was a ready market. What do you mean by this? Why they were interested to invest in India? Because here labors are what? Very cheap. Why the labors are very cheap? Because they were not so much educated. They were not literate even, right? Now, because of that only, the labors were cheap. They don't need to pay them high salary or allowances for that. Now, raw materials, even the raw materials are easily available over here because most of the people doing agriculture. There was a ready market, and because of that, here many markets were established. On the other hand, the emerging Indian capitalists had to compete with the British capitalists. Now what? So, if any Indian want to invest some money and establish the industry, then they supposed to compete with whom? The British capitalists. मतलब कि उनको ब्रिटिश के साथ कंपटीशन में आना पड़ता था when they want to establish any industry. Later, other industries like rice, flour, woolen textiles, sugar, iron, steel, cement, paper and matches were started, and afterwards in the initial age of development of industries, cotton, textile, jewel and coal mining industries were established, right? But later on so many industries were established like rice, flour, woolen textiles, sugar, iron, steel, cement, paper and matches were developed. However, Indian industries developed slowly. British capitalists in India got desired bank loans and railway freight charges. Indian capitalists had to take loans at a high rate of interest. Now, what is the difference between these two? British capitalists जो थे उनको क्या इजीली अवेलेबल हो जाता था और इंडियन कैपिटलिस्ट को क्या इजीली अवेलेबल नहीं होता था. तो इफ एनी इंडियन कैपिटलिस्ट वांट टू टेक लोन फ्रॉम द बैंक, अगर उनको कोई लोन लेना है बैंक से तो दे हैव टू पे हाई चार्जेस टू देम. अगर हम लोन लेते हैं तो we'll have to pay the interest, right? So that interest rate is very high for Indian capitalists, but that is very cheap or you can say free to the British capitalist. The Indian industrialists also had to pay higher railway freight charges as compared to the British. Now, railway freight charges means for students, so if I want to send my production, if I grow some crops, okay, or else if I make some product and I want to send it to other state or other country, so I'll have to send it. If I want to send it through railway, so I'll have to pay some charges to them, right? So that is the freight charges. So that railway freight charges even high for whom? For the Indian industrialist. Another major weakness was the almost complete absence of heavy or capital good industries such as metallurgical and engineering industries. Now, what is that? Engineering industries means what? So, in that particular industry, so many machines were there, right? So, that kind of industries were very much in absence in India. India had hardly any big plants to produce iron and steel, chemicals or oil. Inside, overall agricultural production fell by 14% between 1901 and 1939. Between this duration, agricultural production fell down. Why it is fell down? Because in that particular, in the 19th century only, machine-made industries were produced, machine-made industries were established in India. The British government did not give any financial help to the newly established Indian industries. What does mean? ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट जो थी वो क्या करती थी, तो इंडियन इंडस्ट्रीज जो होती थी उनको एस्टेब्लिश करने के लिए जो फिनेंशियल नीड चाहिए, जैसे कि हमने देखा बैंक लोन, तो उनमें उनको हाई इंटरेस्ट पे करना पड़ता था, राइट? सो दे डजंट हेल्प देम financially and neglected technical education, and even they don't have that much education about that much knowledge about the machines and machine made production. Another negative feature of Indian industrialization was that it was concentrated only in a few regions of the country. Means in a very few regions this kind of industries were established. Large parts of the country were left totally undeveloped. Indian industrialists demanded protection from the tough competition from British industries. They demanded that British industrialists must pay import duty for bringing their goods into India. Now, how they protest or how they against them? So, Indian industrialists what demanded? They demanded that if any British production comes in India for selling, they have to pay high taxes or they have to pay high duties on that. Between 1920s and 1930s, the British were forced to give protection to Indian industries due to the agitation and pressure by nationalist leaders. The First World War gave a boost to Indian industrialists. Now we are going to learn about plantation industry. Now what do you mean by plantation industry? Plantation industries are those which have commercial production of forest product, or you can say that is for industries that are established for the agriculture production. The raw materials are coming from the agriculture production. Around 1750s, India was the largest producer of cotton textiles. Indian textiles were sold in Southeast Asia, West and Central Asia. From the 16th century, European trading companies began buying Indian textile for sale in Europe. But with the beginning of Industrial Revolution in England, wool and silk, what do you mean by this first paragraph, students? So in this particular paragraph, they were saying that India is the largest producer of cotton for the cotton textile, and where it sell out their cotton, that is in Southeast Asia, West and Central Asia and many more areas. But with the beginning of Industrial Revolution in England, manufacturers of England began protesting against the import of Indian cotton textiles. Now, heavy duties was imposed on Indian textile imported into Britain, but the British made cotton textile entered India without paying any custom duties. Again, it is repeated that if Indian cotton textiles or if Indian production is going in another country for selling, they have to pay high duties. But when any British production came in India, they doesn't have to pay that much custom duties. They started dominating not only the Indian market but also those in Africa, America and Europe. They doesn't do this with India only. They do this particular practice in other areas, that is of Africa, America and Europe. The Indian weavers were hit hard. Most of them lost their livelihood. Many were forced to become agricultural laborers. Agricultural laborers means what? So if they have their own farm for the production, but because of this only, they were now doing or they were now working in another farm and as a worker of that particular farm. Many had to go out of India to work in plantation in Africa and South America. Ruin of the Indian weavers was one of the greatest tragedies of India. Under the British, coffee, tea and indigo plantation was started. We know that in that particular duration, in the British rule, what is in high demand, that is of coffee, tea and indigo. And that is why only this production is on high demand, and this plantation only started in India. All the plantations were owned by the European planters. In these plantations, the laborers were mostly bonded laborers who were very badly exploited. Now, what is bonded laborers? Bonded laborers means what? Bond means what? So for a particular period of time or a particular specific period of time, a laborers or a workers were bound to work in that particular field. Okay. Now, average life expectancy of an Indian during 1930s was only 32 years. Why it is so? Because people were very much exploited by the Britishers. Now we are going to learn about the poverty and famines. Famines means what, students? Famines means lack of food. That is condition which is occurred due to lack of food. The British economic policies led to extreme poverty for the Indian masses, who further suffered due to frequent famines. Now what do you mean by that? British rules. We learn earlier about that one-way free trade means if Indian productions is going to sell in another country, they have to pay high duties, but Britishers doesn't have to pay that much high duties, right? Then workers or laborers were bonded means, and they were exploited too much. So this situation create what? Famines. Other indicators of India's poverty were the very low per capita income of the country. Per capita income means what? Individual income of a person. The average life expectancy of Indians were very low, that we learn over here in 1930s, that is only 32 years. That means we can say that average population of India can live up to 32 years only. Indians' economic backwardness was totally man-made as a result of foreign rule and exploitation. India was confined to a of poor people living in rich country. Now we are going to learn about social and cultural policy of the British. Means how British rule affect our society and culture. First is humanitarian measures. Humanitarian means what, students? So I written down over here the meaning of that. That is make people's life better. How they make policies to make the life of people better and better. The most important humanitarian measure taken by the British in India was the ban of sati, when Governor General William Bentinck declared it a crime to be published with almost severity. That means what? We know that in earlier times, what happened to sati pratha is there. What is sati pratha now, students? So when a particular woman's husband died, that time what she supposed to do? So she has to sacrifice herself in the fire pit of his funeral pyre of his husband. So that is the sati pratha. And who opposed it? So Governor General William Bentinck opposed it. Female infanticides, or the practice of killing a female child at the time of birth. Female infanticides means what? So if a particular family knows that in a woman's womb a girl child is there, so what they do? They kill them in the infanticide only, in that womb only. Or else you can say that when a baby girl born, they kill them. Another important act birth was also prohibited by the British. Another important act passed by the British was the Widow Remarriage Act, that is in 1856, enabling Hindu widows to remarry. Widow remarriage means what? Widow means what? So vidwa, whose husband died, right? So they, in earlier times what happens? So they cannot remarry. But by the British rule only, this act was passed on, and that is why only widows can remarry. Now, do you know, it was mainly due to the agitation by Raja Ram Mohan Roy that sati was banned by the British. Agitation means what? So for the force, or for the, you can say, protest. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was a social informer of our country, and he opposed Sati Pratha very highly, and because of that only British banned that particular practice in India. Now, development of the means of transport and communication. A very positive impact of the British rule was the introduction of modern means of transport and communication. Means how they very effectively introduce or very positive impact of their British rule. Right now only we learn that very negative impact of their British rule, right? Like custom duties and high bank loan interest and exploitation of laborers, all that. But the positive impact now we are going to learn. First, they abolished so many practices that were affected our Indian population, and another very much positive impact is that to introduction of means of transport and communication. The British wanted their machine-made goods to reach the markets and get raw materials from every corner of India. Now they only do it for themselves. Okay. Now you can say that why they were introduce modern means of transport and communication in India, because they wants to send their products in the Indian market, and even they wants India's raw materials that reach easily to their particular countries. That's why only they do this. The Britishers also needed quick movement of the armies to curb revolts, check external aggression. To achieve all these and for their self, यू कैन से दैट फॉर दैट, वो उनके लिए वो ये सब कर रहे थे. मतलब कि उनको क्या करना था, तो उनको अपना इंडिया से रॉ मटेरियल्स इजीली अपने कंट्रीज में सेंड करने थे, और वहां पे जो फिनिश प्रोडक्ट, जो फाइनल प्रोडक्ट बन के आ रहा है, उसे कहाँ पे वापस सेल करना चाहते थे, तो इंडियन मार्केट में. तो वो जो चीजें यहाँ से जा रही है, वहां से यहाँ पे आ रही है, तो वो सबके लिए जो ट्रांसपोर्ट और कम्युनिकेशन जरूरी होता है, because of that only they establish or introduce means of transport and communication in India. To achieve all this, transportation was required, so the British introduced steamships and started improving the roads. They started constructing roads to link all the major cities, ports and market of the country. They started first was steamships. So through the ships or through the waterways, they easily transport their products, and even they improve the roads of the country. Why they improve the roads of the countries? So that they exchange their goods from one city to another very much easily, because in a very few states or in a very few cities, ports can be established. So because of that only they improve the roads. Now, a modern railway system was built by the British. The British also established a modern postal system and introduced the telegraph. Postal system means what? Post, right? Letters. The first railway line in India ran from Bombay to Thane and was opened in 1853. Lord Dalhousie was the Governor General of India at that time. Means at the time of Governor General Lord Dalhousie, first railway line was imposed, or you can say opened, from Bombay to Thane. British interconnected India and promoted unity among Indians by introducing the means of transport and communication. And they do it for themselves, but because of that only, Indians also unite through transport and communication. How they unite through transport and communication? So they can meet the people very much quickly and easily through the transportation, and even they communicate through letters or through telegraph to their relatives. Now, drain of wealth. From the very beginning of the British rule till its end, the British drained away wealth from India in various ways. The British, how in various ways? So we're gonna learn about that. The British took back to England the enormous fortunes that they extorted from Indian rulers, zamindars and merchants. Now how they were doing that? Zamindars, what they do? Zamindars take so high rates or high revenues from the farmers or from the laborers and they will give it to whom? जमींदार्स किसे वो रेवेन्यूज जो वो फार्मर्स के पास से हाई लैंड रेवेन्यूज जो कलेक्ट करते थे they were send it to Britishers only, and British what they did, they send it in the Britain for the production or for the development of the British country. The British used India's wealth to buy Indian products which they exported out of India and made profits. How they made profit? तो वो इंडिया से रॉ मटेरियल परचेज करते थे, वो जमींदार से क्या करते थे, तो वो रेवेन्यू कलेक्ट करवाते थे और वो ही मनी को वो कहाँ पे यूज करते थे, इंडिया में यूज करते थे. कैसे? तो इंडिया से रॉ मटेरियल परचेज करने के लिए, और रॉ मटेरियल परचेज करके वो कहाँ पे सेंड करते थे, तो ब्रिटिश कंट्री में सेंड करते थे. वहां पे फिनिश प्रोडक्ट बनता था और वो फिनिश प्रोडक्ट वापस कहाँ पे सेल किया जाता था, तो इंडियन मार्केट में. पर कैसे प्राइसेस में सेल किया जाता था, तो उन्होंने जो प्राइस में रॉ मटेरियल परचेस किया है उससे हाई प्राइस में वो क्या करते थे, फाइनल प्रोडक्ट को इंडियन मार्केट में सेल करते थे. तो उनको क्या होता था, बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉफिट अर्न होता था. नाउ India's resources were used to raise the army which was used to conquer India and to fight emerging powers outside the India. This army was used in the World Wars too. Thus, British also exploited the military resources of India. Even what they do, here we learn that India's resources were used to raise the army. Means, army force even exploited by the British during that time. Now we are going to learn about the introduction of modern education. The first major step towards giving modern education in India started when in 1835 the British decided to introduce the reading of Western science and literature through the medium of English language. Now you can learn over here that there are so many improvements in our education system by the British. Why they do so? First, they doing the English medium of English language, means compulsion of English language. Then the British government decide to open a few English schools and colleges instead of a large number of elementary schools. Thus, the British government did not take up the education for the masses. Means what? Masses means in a large number of students. They don't want that in a particular school a large number of students studied. So what they did, they make English schools and colleges instead of what? You can say that instead of elementary school. Elementary schools means what? So regional languages schools. Moreover, because the students had to pay fees in schools and colleges, education was quite costly and was available only to the upper classes living in the cities. Now, this is the positive impact, that they were introduced or they were established in another language school, that is the English school, but they did not give admission to a large number of masses, means the large number of students. But the another impact is that schools and colleges have high fees, and because of that they were quite costly, and because of that only it is available only to the upper classes, and other classes cannot afford that particular school. However, as a result of the spread of modern Western education, the Indians got rational, democratic and secular ideas, and because of this only Indians get logic knowledge. Rational means what? Logical knowledge they get. Democratic means freedom of knowledge they have. And secular knowledge. They were the first to question the British rule and become leaders and organizers of the national movement. And through their schools, those students who learn in these English medium schools, they only what? Question the British rule and become the leaders for the national movement. Western education also gave the educated Indians a common language for communication, and because of this Western education, or you can say this modern education, Indians get one common language, that is the English. उनको क्या मिल गया? एक कॉमन लैंग्वेज मिल गया जिसके थ्रू वो क्या कर सकते हैं, तो किसी भी कंट्री के पीपल के साथ कम्युनिकेट इजीली कर सकते हैं थ्रू दी इंग्लिश. English became the medium of communication between Western educated Indians coming from different parts of the countries. Lord Macaulay was responsible for introducing Western education in India. Now, who is responsible for the introduction of modern education in India? That is the Lord Macaulay. Thus, the humanitarian measures means how the people's life can be better. That of the British and their educational policy led to the social and cultural awakening in India. Means in our society, and according to the society and cultural impact, we can say that British rule get positive impact on that. But in the economic way, it is negative impact.